Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
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 Eric, how was your birthday?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. And Claire, great memory. It was very fun. My wife and I went to a restaurant called Zona de Cuba, which is a rooftop restaurant slash bar on 149th Street in the Bronx. And we are a typical couple with young kids in our 30s because we were home by about 10:30. And that was our night. So once you get to a certain age, a night in the town means that you're home by about 10 or 11. But we had a lovely time. They had live music. The food was delicious, and yeah, I'm 1 year older. So thank you for asking.
Of course.
All right, that's just good parenting. Well, the thing of it is, Alan is for those of us who have kids or have nieces or nephews or have siblings in the house still. Here's the thing. Here's the life hack. It doesn't matter what time you go to bed. They're always gonna wake up at 6 o'clock, right? It doesn't matter. Like, so if you go to bed at 8 or if you go to bed at 1, guess what? 6 o'clock, Daddy, I want milk. It's like, I know, sweetie. And we try our best not to do too much screen time, but sometimes it's just like just take the phone and just come back in like an hour. But we didn't do that today, so that was good. So if I fall asleep in class, you know why. Just like the cat. Yeah, Izzy. It doesn't matter what time you go to bed, the cat wants to be fed early in the morning. All right. So we got Jesus as our assistant instructor. Is Jesus here? Going once, going twice. I don't see Jesus. All right. I guess the pressure of being assistant instructor was too much to bear. I get it. It's a lot of work. So I guess we're not going to have an assistant instructor today. So with that being said, does someone want to raise their hand and ask the group a question to kick off our class? Yes, Tyrell.
What is a skill that you're proud of that you wish more people will acknowledge?
Wow, we're getting philosophical. All right, Tyrell. Well, since you asked us a deep question, why don't we start off with you? What's the skill that you have that you wish more people would acknowledge?
Um, Honestly, I'm a really great pastry chef. I've worked in
Oh,
restaurants. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, I don't talk about it as much, but I've worked in two restaurants as a line chef and a sous chef, and I was in charge of pastries. And I went to culinary school for a semester because it got expensive, so I left. But I learned a lot, and I'm really good at pastries.
wow. Now I'm really curious, Tyrell. Do you have a go-to pastry that you either really enjoy preparing or really enjoy eating?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't eat what I bake, so the two things that I make are zucchini bread
Mm-hmm.
and my own recipe for inside out cinnamon bread. So there's a crunchy
Mm,
cinnamon topping, and inside there's a gooey cinnamon, like a cinnamon swirl. So
mm-hmm.
it's solidified, but there's a part that's just warm and gooey with the crunch topping on top.
Wow. Okay. If your mouth is watering right now, give me an emoji because I'm literally like, wow, I'm going to come to over to Tyrell's house and have some good baked pastries. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, my salad for lunch seems very very unexciting. And let's see here. For me, what is a skill that I have that I think isn't underutilized? Here's an interesting one. So, I am a really patient person. So like I'll be hanging out with friends and like we'll be waiting for the train and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, where's the train? I'm so annoyed. We've been here for 4 minutes." And I'm just like, "Guys, just relax. All right? We're going to get to where we need to go. It's okay. It's not worth getting stressed out about. Like just take a deep breath." And that's just something that I think is, a skill that I'm grateful that I've cultivated. It's very contrarian to New York City hustle life and culture, but I just feel like patience is a good skill to have. It's okay, just things can take time. It's all right. So I like this question, and we got Todd Rule. His languages, and I know he speaks many languages. He shared that during orientation. And Davian, creative talents. Yeah, big check to that. Unfortunately, that is not celebrated in our culture like it should be. Wow, so we got lunch on Tyrell. Jason says Kayla's was a chef too. Tug rule, cook pizza. Wow. I think we should have a day where we don't have class and we all meet up at a kitchen somewhere and we all just make dishes and have a big potluck. How's that sound? Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Um, so yeah, Raphael, I'm gonna go get food because I'm hungry after hearing Tyrell describe that delicious gooey pastry. Being patient as well. Most New Yorkers are not patient. Yeah, exactly. Being a good listener. Yeah, Audrey, that's actually really interesting because I think that's a skill that like you're not gonna really ever like see a job posting like we're looking for someone who's a great listener. But to me, like that's one of the greatest qualities a person can have. Like, can you listen and not just to like respond to somebody, but really try to understand. I can only make desserts. You're able to imitate people's body language. That's great. That's actually a skill called mirroring as well, which is a really useful skill, particularly in negotiation. Fun fact. Megan, I'm good at giving advice. Well, there you go, Megan. What kind of? Now I'm kind of curious, Megan. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but I'm actually going to. Like, are we talking like any advice, like career advice, relationship advice? Like, should I move to this apartment advice, or do you have like a specialty that you're really good at this type of advice?
It's just like I'm often the friend that people come to, like if they're having a hard time, like emotionally, like if they're upset or like something like that. So I am able to like, I guess, level out people's thinking, like if they're thinking too irrationally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it. So now we all know, all 42 of us on the Zoom call, if wherever you know, yeah, DM Megan for help. So that's good. That's very helpful. And Megan is super sympathetic. It's amazing. Wow, you guys have gotten very close in the last 2 weeks. I'm really impressed that you know so much about each other. So awesome. All right, well, that's really cool to hear. Looks like we have a very multifaceted group of people that are part of our class, which I appreciate. So I want to do this today. It's our last class of the week. Tomorrow's Friday feedback and developing you and all that good stuff. There is no classes on Fridays. So do me a favor in the chat box, type in something that we discussed in this class in the last 2 weeks. What was a topic or a theme, whether it was in class discussion, a discussion board, a video, a breakout. And also, I see people are putting Outlook. I'm glad you're putting Outlook, but more specifically, what about Outlook do we discuss the last couple of weeks? Customer service, tips on Outlook, color coordination, good customer service through a call, email signatures, yes, excellent. Organizing files, yeah, that was all the way 2 weeks ago. Doesn't that seem like it was so long ago? And then also, I don't think anybody mentioned this, but we also talked a little bit about self-care. So taking care of ourselves through through this process. So we're going to do something a little bit different today, and I think it's kind of fun. We're going to do what's called a reverse classroom. All right, let me just explain to you what's going to happen. In about a minute and a half, I'm going to put you into rooms of 5 to 6 people. All right, I'm going to put you into rooms of 5 or 6 people, and I want you to pick one of these 3 topics: customer service, Outlook, or self-care. I want your team to then decide what is a topic that we can bring back to the main room that we did not cover in the past 2 weeks. All right. So maybe there's like a function in Outlook that we never really got to that you think would be interesting to explore. Maybe there's an area with customer service that we hadn't spoken about yet that you want to talk about in more detail. Maybe something with self-care that you do that helps you perform at your most optimal level. Whatever you want. You and your team of 5 people discuss in these 3 themes, in these 3 buckets. Let's talk about customer service, Outlook, or self-care. I'm going to be very clear here because one time I did this exercise and a group came back and they wanted to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm like, guys, we're not talking about sports right now. We're talking about these 3 things. All right. So just being clear. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to hear about that, but that's not the point of today's exercise. So you're going to figure out a theme within the theme that we did not discuss. And then what I want you to do is make a 1 to 2 minute presentation on that. So you're going to teach a lesson essentially on it. So like, for example, like Justin put, learning how to make email signatures. Well, we didn't really talk, we talked about that, sure. But maybe one thing you want to talk about is like, well, how do I make a LinkedIn logo in my email signature to link to my LinkedIn? That could be your lesson. All right. We didn't spend a whole lot of time talking about that. Or maybe you want to do color coding. We didn't talk about in great detail. Well, how do you, like, why would you choose green for classes? Why would you choose blue for study time? You know, what's the psychology behind those colors? I mean, just be creative. You all are a very smart, competent group, but don't come back and talk about the Brooklyn Nets, and don't come back and talk about, you know, something that we've already discussed. This is like, if you come back and say, here's a 1-minute lesson on how to organize your files. It's like, well, unless they're going to share new information, then it'll be a bit redundant. Okay. I said a lot there. Anybody want to raise their digital hand, ask a question before I send you off? Now, let me ask you a question. 5 people in your group. You need to come up with your theme or your idea. You have to create a 1 to 2 minute presentation and to bring it back to the whole group. How much time do you think you'll need to prepare this lesson? Put in the chat. Seven minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, 10 to 15, 5 to 10 rather, 10, 15. Wow, you guys are really, really, you know, think you're going to move and groove through this. I'll tell you what. How about I give you 15 minutes? All right. That's enough time to get yourself together. And if you feel like if you're done after 8 minutes, then go get a coffee or, you know, look at your phone. I don't know, do whatever you want. And then we'll come back in 15 minutes and discuss. Now, I want to hear from everybody in your group. All right. So if it's a group of 5 people and it's my group, it's not Eric talking for 2 minutes. It's everyone talking for 15 to 30 seconds. All right. Any questions? Matthew gave me a thumbs up. All right. Oh, yeah, Joshua.
Just to be clear, what were the topics again that we should talk about?
Yeah. I put them in the chat. I'll put them again. Let me just copy and paste. But they are customer service, Outlook, or self-care. So you're giving a 1 to 2 minute lesson on one of these 3 themes, sharing a topic that we did not discuss yet. All right. Around these 3 things. If you really wanted the easiest one, actually, I'm not even going to tell you. I'll let you guys figure it out. All right. You're a smart group. It's time to work together as a team. This is what Workforce is all about. And I'll see your lovely faces back in 15 minutes. Welcome back. All right, we got everyone back in about 2 seconds. Was 15 minutes enough time? All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing these lessons, or hearing these lessons rather. So room 1, that's Diane, Jason, Miguel, Raphael, Sabrina, and Tyrell. Whoever wants to kick us off, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. So we took the time to talk about self-care today. So for our presentation, we are all going to discuss different aspects of self-care that we all can do. And if you find any of these topics or suggestions helpful, take them, adapt them to you specifically, and make it work as best as possible for yourself. So to start, myself, one thing that I do is deep thinking in the shower. I've learned that the shower is the only time in my house where I'm alone. No one is joining me. That is my own personal time. And I'm allowed to think and do whatever I want. So in that shower, after I wash, spend 10, 15 minutes just thinking about everything and nothing at the same time. And it clears my mind. So my mind's not as cluttered. And then I come out feeling fresh, refreshed, and ready to do anything that's possible that I want to do or I have to do. I'm also going to pass it on to Diane.
Hi guys, good morning. So what I do personally, and I suggest everyone should do, is go to the spa. Take at least like once a month to go to the spa, or sometimes like every week if you want. It's a place to relax. Personally, I like Sojo, but it's a place to relax. You got, a little view and stuff. You get to get massages, like give your body a place to just relax your muscles, lay back and kick back, and sometimes think. If you want to go alone, there's some days you could go alone, help you think, and there's some days you can just go with friends or family, and that will help to like take all the stress out, talk to someone and everything. And then I'll pass it to my other group member, Sabrina.
For me personally, the way I take care of myself is by watching a lot of Netflix. So I don't have a lot of free time. I'm always in front of my laptop working on my deliverables, homework, college work, etc. And then on weekends, I have work. So I barely have time for myself nowadays. So finding that time, maybe after I'm done with my work at night, and just watching a few episodes of my favorite show just really helps me clear my mind up and not be thinking about all my homework and all the responsibilities I have. I just take that time for myself and only focus on the TV show. That's about it.
And then we'll go ahead, Jason.
For me, finding my inner peace, it really helped me cope. For example, I like playing games after class to help me decompress, and it really helps me get back into my deliverable flow and continues my homework. Raf, take it away.
Just, so the thing I like to do is basically, just treat myself to like something like good to eat, like, oh, I forgot. Wait, sorry. Like for example, like let's say you want something like really expensive to eat, but like, I don't know, but sometimes you just gotta buy it, treat yourself sometimes, All right, I'll pass it on to, I think Miguel's again.
Yeah. So one of the things I like to do for self-care is because sometimes we don't always have the time every day. So find one day where you could treat yourself. And the way I like to treat myself is I like to pamper myself and groom myself. So I like to go get my nails done and stuff like that. Get my hair cut, my nails done, do all that in one day. And then because, there are parts, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you work good. And that is why self-care is important.
Right. Ooh, last thing, Eric. So just to sum it up, self-care is not just one thing. Self-care is physical, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Do what you must to take care of yourself, even if it's something as little as just cleaning your room or something as large as taking a trip. Whatever you do for you is the best thing you can do for you.
Excellent. Let's hear it for group one, self-care. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Group two, Brandon, Justin, Kaisha, Renee, and Tog Rule. Who wants to take it away?
Me. All right. Good morning, everyone. Our group decided to choose customer service. So if you if a customer comes to you in your place of business and is angry, starts acting negatively, here are some tips and steps to resolve the issue. So first off, listen to the customer and don't act negatively and be patient. I'll pass it on to Brandon.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Renee. Like Renee said, you want to listen to the customer, and you also want to repeat the problem back to them so that they feel validated and that you're actually listening to them. So you don't, say that you're not dismissing them in a way. You want to make sure they feel comfortable and understood. And I'll pass it off to Togu.
Thank you, Brendan. I would like to mention also, you have to keep calm and try your best to not react emotionally, because at the end you're gonna feel depressed and nervous and not resolving the issue. And I will pass to Keisha.
Thank you, Togra. It's also important to avoid confrontation to not lose time, and also to avoid deadly phrases such as, I don't understand, calm down, there's nothing we can do, that's impossible, I'm not sure, I guess, I'll get back to you, or just plain no. And I'll pass it on to Justin.
Back to what Kaisha said, I feel like if a customer continues to act negatively towards you and you feel like no progress is being made, you should see if a store manager or your manager or one of your employees can assist you to help you migrate the situation, because you don't want any more confrontations with that customer because you don't know where it could lead to or how it could lead. So I feel like that's where you should avoid it.
For the summary, I would like to mention that we found out the 4 of us working in a customer service. So these tips and steps are from our own experience, but there is always better ways and there is always professionals. But here you are, we did some presentation about the customer service. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, group 2. And go ahead and give them a hand clap. Appreciate you sharing that out. One thing I do want to mention in terms of both groups is that we do want to make sure that this is quick. We have 6 other groups to get through. It's supposed to be 1 to 2 minutes. So if you're a group of 5, that would mean that you're talking for 10 to 15 seconds. 10 to 15 seconds is about 3 to 4 sentences, just for the sake of kind of keep things moving. But great job, both groups. We're going to go ahead and go to room 3. We're going to do room 4 first. Room 4 is Audrey, Anton, Brian, Desmond, and Jorge. The floor is yours, room 4.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So our group decided to choose self-care, and I'll start it off. When I talk about self-care in this discussion, I'm talking about the overwhelming and stress aspect of it. I feel that you always want to be at your best, and the idea of creating space for your mistakes and acknowledging that there will be a solution will help you to be more productive in the future. You know, you're not always going to be uptight about things, and if you create space for your mistakes and learn from it, I feel that in the end, it will help you be successful. I'll pass it on to Anton.
Morning, everybody. When you talk about self-care, you have to talk about time management. You have to be able to manage time to do your work life, your school life, and life just for yourself, to treat yourself, to go out with friends and stuff. And I'll pass it on to Jorge.
To add on to what Anton said, with time management, coming in on time is also a way that you can be more engaged with the group and work. And by before coming on time, you need to get a good night's sleep. When you sleep, your body heals and resets. So it's a good thing to do with self-care. And I'll pass it on to Audrey.
Something also important to do is taking breaks, because it's just when you take breaks, it's a time that you can have to work on your state of mind. And also, if you're stuck on something, that's a time that you can have to like think about a solution. Also, using the Pomodoro technique is important, because it's just taking those 5 minutes of break after those 25 minutes of work can do a big help. And I'll pass it on to Desmond.
So we talk about self-care in class, but we didn't really touch deep into this. Talk about embracing your full story. It helps with the self-care part too. The problem with this approach is that we tend to cut out part of our story, and cutting out part of our story is like you cutting out part of your experiences. So that's not a good self-care practice right there. Thank you.
Great. Was that everybody? Awesome. Excellent
Yes.
job. Thank you so much. Another good topic of self-care. We appreciate that. Let's go to our next group. Actually, I remade the breakout room because I had to put somebody into a room with the staff. So can someone please help me out? If your team hasn't gone yet, can someone raise their hand and nominate your team to go next? Yeah, Amir.
Hey, I'll share my screen here.
Mhm.
Okay. We good?
Yep.
Our team did self-care.
Hold on a second, Amir. I'm sorry, Saku. I need you to go into the breakout room with Serena, please. I need you to go back into that. Do you need me to open the room again?
Yeah.
Open it again. Okay. Sorry, guys. 1 second.
It's fine.
All right. Okay. We're good. I'm sorry, Amir. Please, the floor is yours. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you. Self-care. So I'll start us off with exercise, something I love to do. So exercising often helps you keep feeling free and relaxed. You become more comfortable in your own body, leading to confidence. I like to jog. I like to work out. It's a healthy habit to build, to do every now and then, every few days. So I love to exercise, and I'll lead into Sean.
Good morning, everyone. I picked skincare because I feel like skincare is really important. And my notes were skincare allows you to feel cleaner and more confident in yourself. This is a great mental reset if you are feeling stressed or upset. And also, caring for yourself is an act of kindness. And I'll pass it on.
Eduardo.
Organization, you want to clean your room, clean your living space. It's less clutter in your life and it leaves your mind to be ready and fresh to work on like deliverables, something that needs your full attention. Next slide.
Let's go to Melvin.
Meditation helps with self-care because it can help reduce stress. It promotes emotional health and controls anxiety. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Going to emotional health. We'll end it
So
here.
what I chose was emotional health. So many of us deal with emotional health, especially when we go through puberty. Most of the emotion that we feel are anger, anxiety, and sadness. So I gave some questions to how to deal with emotional health. One of it is to create a strategy plan to help you. So what are some ways for you to deal with your emotions? What are some activities that you could do to make you feel better about yourself? So for example, for anger, you could do like boxing to help release the stress and anger. Anxiety would be just taking some deep breath, and sadness would be just talking to someone or just eating. That's all.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
That is our presentation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, team. I really appreciate that. Just so you guys know, like there is a method to the madness here. Some of you are wondering why are we spending this whole time like presenting out these topics, and let me tell you why. Part of my role here at Year Up is to identify what are the strengths of our students and what are the growth areas of our students. All right, and the reason that we do that is because we had to identify like where should you go for internship, what kind of path can we put you on. Do you need to go to a role where you need a lot of support? Do you need to go to a role where you have a lot of autonomy, you can work independently? And just this activity alone, it does two things. Number one, it gives me the identity to it gives me the opportunity rather to see everybody in action. There are people in this room who I have not even heard speak one time in the last 2 weeks. So someone might say, "Oh, what's Jane like?" And I'd be like, "Well, I don't know. I've never even heard Jane speak once in class." So I get a chance to see people speak in class, which is great. And the second thing is I can identify people's abilities. So to give feedback to Amir just demonstrated to me by this activity that he's a really strong leader. If you guys notice that he was the point person navigating that whole entire interaction, making sure everyone stayed on track. So now I know when it's time to, evaluate where should Amir go, I can advocate for Amir and say, well, Amir's a strong leader and he needs to be in a seat for internship where he can really develop those gifts and hone those gifts. So that's why we're doing this. All right. So if you're wondering why are we doing this, what's the point of this? That's the point. Plus, it's interesting to learn, as well. So just want you guys to know that there is a method to the madness. It's not just, filling up time. All right, what group is next? Let's go over to Izzy.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Our group, which consists of Joshua, Matthew, Zunier, and Henry, all went through customer service. And the topic at hand in customer service that we went through is open-ended questions. We per se thought that we didn't really go over open-ended questions just in case people didn't really understand what that is. An open-ended question is a question that a customer cannot say yes or no to. We thought it'd be more better to explain it more at hand. So I'm going to lead it to Joshua now.
Hi, thank you guys. So we're going to be going over many different topics. Each one of us is discussing different aspects of open-ended questions in terms of the IT field. And so I'm going to pass it over to Matthew.
Yeah, so reasons why you would ask open-ended questions, is to get valuable information out of a customer. You want to get as much useful information so you could best help the customer. Usually this will also help with your time management. You want to get it as quickly as possible so you can best assist them. And for some examples of that, I'll pass it on to Henry.
Some examples, specifically to grasp more information from customers, would be like, when did you start experiencing this issue, or has it happened before? What have you experiencing so far? Those are some of the examples you would want to use, especially helping out customers. And Zumir is going to tell us some don'ts or bad examples.
Good morning. Thank you, Henry. So when not to use open-ended questions, I feel like when different people give different degrees of detail, and some people tend to get off track and give different kinds of details, that is one of the reasons that could be not to use open-ended questions. Some other reasons could be where answers can be difficult to compare to the question of what field we're talking about. And some people tend to get intimidated by open-ended questions and get offended. And that's what I came with to why not to use open-ended questions. Thank you to my colleagues, and thank you to everyone for listening.
Thank you, everyone. That is our presentation of open-ended question and customer service in the IT field.
Excellent. Awesome job, team. Thank you so much for that presentation. Very helpful, very informative. Who hasn't gone yet? You can raise your hand and we'll call on you. Sikander?
I'm going to share my screen. 1 second. So my group was me, Alan, Davian, Megan, and Oscar. We're going to be talking about self-care in the customer service environment. I will pass it off to Alan.
Morning, everybody. Just real quick, some scenarios that we went over. I know it's a big chunk of letters. I'll paraphrase it. Tim got called to the trading desk after a ticket was being submitted. After getting there, he was being repeatedly berated by his colleagues over complaints about how long it's taking, the difficulties they're having with their machines and various devices. Second one, Tim received an email regarding an emergency with some hardware, and it led to a phone call, or it was in relation to a phone call. There was a lot of background noise with the customer side, and him having to repeat himself and ask questions a bunch. Customer got mad, complained, and it ended all basically with saying, "This is your job, not mine to fix it now." So we're going to go ahead and pass it on to the others to kind of explain how we go about dealing with that.
All right, everyone. So David here. I'm just going to talk about a few of the ways we can deal with the aftermath of gaining that stress from those scenarios. One of the points that we put down collectively as a group was taking a break and just stepping away from the workplace for a little bit. Do a couple breathing exercises, whatever you have to do just to get away from the toxic and negative environment, just so you can come to a clearer headspace. And I'm going to pass that on to Megan if she can expound on the second point.
Yeah, speaking of someone about your concerns in the workplace is very important. Sometimes you feel like you have to get things out and voice whatever is going on. So I think that that would be something that you should do. Um, and I'm going to pass it to the next member. I forgot.
Oscar.
Oscar, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Our next point is forming positive relationships with our coworkers. This is important because everyone needs needs that someone to like communicate and relieve stress to. Just like positive communication and talking and just like hanging out in a way can like relieve stress. And that's it, I guess. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, group. You can go ahead and give them a digital round of applause. Man, I'm learning so much from all of you. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I'm a big fan of the step away. Step away from your computer, get some fresh air. It does wonders. So, Daniel, I saw your hand first. Onto your team, please.
And Claire, thank you. Okay, so for something we didn't discuss as of yet, I guess. Let's say for customer service, if we were helping somebody out and like went through the whole troubleshooting process, went through all our bullet points, and nothing was still working, what would be our next step? You know, who would we talk to? What would we go look at, and how do we figure it out to try to help the customer? Pass it on to my other colleagues.
Do you want to jump in here, Michael?
Yes. For customer service, something that we didn't touch on, it will be a written skills, since we IT will be dealing with customers every day, sending emails basically the entire day, and customers with different problems. We should be able to deal with those problems quickly by sending those message with sending a message clear to those person with a solution. And I will pass it on to my next colleague.
Maria?
We also think that we didn't really touch base on self-care, and something that we want to say is that sometimes you need to take some days for personal care. Sometimes you just feel so overwhelmed with work and deliverables, and like you might feel stressed out, and you just need at least like one day just for yourself. No thinking about work, phone on airplane mode or do not disturb, and so you can concentrate on yourself again and like calm down your mind and feel more like center your thoughts and things like that, because like we know we can have some things going on outside Europe with our family, personal life, and things like that, and all that can be really stressful. So yeah.
Franklin?
Yes. Another suggestion and something I believe we didn't touch on was the option of taking therapy. You know, Year Up offers therapy services for students and student services, and they can be very helpful. So taking therapy is a good way to deal with one's own emotions, because we get professional intervention and they will help us cope. So I'll pass it on to my next colleague.
You need to make yourself a priority. Like it's so easy to get caught up in doing things that like, oh, my boss needs this, or somebody needs this, or somebody needs this. Well, that you need to sometimes take a step back and try to figure out, what is it that I need? What is it that is going to bring my mind some peace? Because I'm bending over backwards for everybody else, but neglecting myself, and that will drive you crazy. And if you take good care of yourself, you whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's work, school, life, whatever, you're more likely to like prosper.
Great. Is that everything?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and hear for that group. Excellent presentation. Appreciate that. Kayla, the floor is yours.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Give me 1 second. All right, so our group also did a self-care, but we did like what we do in our daily routine for everything. So I start off my morning by working out and also eating breakfast before I get into class. And I'm gonna pass it over to Lauren.
For me, it's waking up with positivity and to take a break and either watching movies or to listen to music. And then after is to have a breakfast and eat healthy. And I'll pass it to Rashid.
By the afternoon time, I'm either outside for a little bit, at least like around 12, I'll go outside to either go play basketball in like a basketball gym, or I'll just stay in the house and watch a movie, and then I kind of like start my homework, and then I'll pass it on to Eliza. Oh wait, no, sorry. I pass it on to Soledad.
Hello, in the afternoon, one thing I like to do also is meal prep for the rest of the day and for the next day for breakfast. And another thing is go outside also in the afternoon. I'll pass it on to Eli.
In the night, before I go to sleep, it's been a long day, like with Europe and everything. So one thing I like to have like a little time to myself. Make sure you always take out some time for yourself. Also, it's also good to like have things ready for the next morning so that you don't go rushing just to get to class. And yeah.
Great. Let's hear it for the group. Awesome. Is there anybody that hasn't gone yet? All right. Well, excellent job, everybody. Let's spend a little bit of time debriefing. Take a moment and think about that experience. And I want you to think of 2 questions. You can answer whichever one you'd like. What did you learn about yourself in this exercise? Or what did you learn about somebody else in the room through this exercise? So take a few seconds, think about that. When you have something that you want to share, you can raise your hand. Yes, we'll start with you, Tyrell, then we'll work our way down.
My is not towards anyone specifically, just for everyone that did self-care. I noticed that everyone has something different they do based on what it is they're going through in their lives. And all of their self-care options and the suggestions, I've taken a lot of them and adapted them to myself. But all in all, wonderful, wonderful suggestions. And I'm glad that the people who are doing self-care are doing that and taking care of themselves outside of just wanting to do deliverables.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, Tyrell. Great reflection. Thank you, Rashi.
One thing I noticed about myself, when it comes to like self-care and playing basketball, I always say like basketball is like kind of therapy for me. Because a lot of the times when I'm going through like really rough times and I'm just by myself on a basketball court, it just everything is kind of like everything just goes away. And it's like for that hour or 2 hours that I'm just playing, it's just me and it's just me and a hoop, and that's all I got to worry about.
I love that. Excellent. It puts you in a different frame of mind. That's great. Thank you for sharing, Rashi. Alan?
Morning, everybody. Yes, my group did the topic of self-care, specifically kind of like post-situation in the workplace. But for me specifically, I need to learn to value self-care more outside of the workplace. Yeah, I play video games and stuff like that, but I never really pegged it as self-care. And I tend to get very, very tunnel visioned in my work very, very quickly. And tend to burn myself out very, very early in the beginning of the week. And then by the second half of the week, I'm gassed out and I don't really want to do anything. I have no drive. So I think self-care for me would be to pace myself.
Excellent. Very helpful advice. Thank you. Matthew, you had your hand up, but then you put it down, but I wanted to hear from you. We haven't heard from you yet today, I believe. So what did you want to share?
Well, yeah, a lot of people had touched on some of the points I was going to say. For the customer service aspect that my group did, when we were talking in our breakout room of structuring our presentation, I noticed that we each had similar experiences when it came to customer service. So being able to have that, that shared experience with somebody else is pretty cool.
Excellent. Yeah, for sure. You found some common ground. I love that. And Amir?
Yeah, for me, I came in thinking, self-care, I'm exercising, I'm eating right, I'm not putting any junk, but then I'm sitting there listening to everyone else and wow, I'm unorganized, aren't I? And I'm sitting there, I look behind me, I'm like, yep, I am unorganized, so I got to figure that out.
Yeah, good self-reflection. Really appreciate that. Well, I really enjoyed hearing everyone's talks. I mean, we'll do this a few times throughout the mod, but it's an opportunity for me to hear from you, for you to learn from your colleagues. Because here's the thing, guys, is that there are people in this class who speak every day, and some who speak multiple times a day, and that's really great, and I'm very happy for that. But there are some people in this class who I have not even heard your voice until today, and that should change. You all have valuable things to add to the conversation. Don't be embarrassed to raise your hand and say something. No one's gonna, tease you or say that was a dumb comment. We're here to support one another. We're all on this journey together. So I just, want to spend some time for that. And one other thing I wanted to raise is feedback for Lauren and Jorge. One thing I noticed while everybody was presenting, both Lauren and Jorge were watching, they were nodding, they were smiling, putting comments in the chat on occasion. And what that demonstrates to me is that they were engaged with everybody's, presentations, which was really helpful. On the other side of the coin, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I saw quite a few people doing this during the presentations. I saw people clearly looking things up during the presentations. I heard a lot of cell phones chiming during presentations. And here's the thing, guys, is like when you get to the workforce, if you're in a meeting and you're talking and your cell phone's going off, it's just not a good look. I'll just leave it at that because your attention deserves to be here. So I encourage you, to make sure your phone is in a place where it's not distracting you. My phone's actually on the other side of the room. I couldn't even reach it right now, even if I wanted to. So just want to encourage us with that. For those of us who always have our phone on our hand, we've survived millions of years as a species with no cell phone. We can survive an hour and a half class. So I just want to encourage those of us here that maybe struggle in that area, and just to stay focused in the moment. One thing I might have heard it, but a big self-care piece is wherever you are, just be fully there. All right. You can worry about what's on your phone, when class wraps up. If you guys haven't noticed, I like to end class early. It's kind of my thing. All right. Any questions, comments before we get out of here, folks? Okay.
I have one.
Yes, Matthew.
Any deliverables?
Yes, that's what we're going to get into right now. You're always thinking of deliverables, Matthew. You're such a great student. Here's our deliverables. Screenshot your email signature. A lot of you have already done that. So if you're done with that, that's complete. Respond to 2 discussion posts. A lot of you have done that. But ding, 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 we got a new one. A customer service email. Go ahead and pull this up on my computer quick. Let me explain to you the method behind my madness. When you get to the IT help desk, you're not going to have a whole lot of time to respond to inbound requests. All right. So therefore, that's why I gave it to you today. It's due tomorrow. You have, a full, day and a half to get it done. But that's why I didn't do it like in the beginning of the week and give you all week to figure it out. So this is what it looks like on your Schoology. As you can see in big red bold font, use the rubric as your guide. If you do that, you're going to be just fine. You got an email from a woman named Joan. It says 4 sentences, excuse me. My computer won't turn on. I tried pressing the power button many times. It's not doing anything. I think I need a new machine. Please advise. Do you greet the person by their name? Do you ask open-ended questions? And do you propose next steps? What you're going to do is you're going to go into your Word document, respond to Joan's email, and then save that and send it to me by the end of the day tomorrow. All right. If you do those 3 things, you passed. All right. If you don't, then we're gonna have it. And then obviously your grade's gonna get docked. It's not. So that's what your assignment is due by the end of the day tomorrow. The reason I gave it to you now and not on Monday is because, like I said, when you're in the workforce, you're not gonna always have the opportunity to, time will not always be on your side, as the old song goes, right? You get to respond to these inquiries quickly. And the second thing is that we spent a good part of this week talking about etiquette in customer service and how to, write a professional email. Now you have the opportunity to put those things to the test. I see a couple of hands. Jason, let's start with you.
So for the proposed next step that normally comes after, they answer the 2 to 3 open questions, how do you want us to approach that part?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jason. What do you think I'm asking for there?
Like advisements on what they should do with their computer. But if we don't actually get an answer for the 2 to 3 steps part, are we supposed to just guess what they would say?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to not give the answer, but imagine like you're writing this email to Joan, you're asking open-ended questions, and you're proposing, please get back to me as soon as possible so that I can advise what we should do. That could be an example. Like you're guiding her on the journey because you're asking her these questions and you're saying, hey, this is what I want to do together. This is what I'm thinking as our next step. So is that helpful? Is that helpful, Jason?
Yes.
You're not proposing the solution. You're proposing the next steps. That's probably the easiest way to think about it.
Okay, thank you.
Kayla?
Yeah. I'm not sure if you answered this already, but there's an assignment that says customer service video in class. That's what we did today, right?
That's what we did yesterday, and that's ungraded. That was the woman in the Philippines. That was the call center person.
Okay, perfect.
That was an ungraded, just an opportunity for us to discuss what this person did well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, we will probably about once a week have an ungraded assignment that we do in class together. Audrey?
Do we send it to your email?
You submit on Schoology. Yeah, thank you for asking. Please submit on Schoology as a Word document. Alan, is that hand from earlier? Or do you have another question?
It was from earlier. Apologies.
No problem. Rashi, do you have a question, or is that from earlier?
I have a question. My Schoology, I'm not able to log in. I've emailed multiple teachers about it, so I don't really know what to do at the moment.
Okay. Just email it to me then. That's fine. Eli?
So we're emailing her back. So do you want us to do like an email, then screenshot and put in a Word document and then send it to you?
That works, or you can do like make an email, screenshot the email, or you can just do it in a Word document. But I want you to write it like it's an email. Like it should say, "Dear Joan" at the very top of it.
So email is fine, just screenshot it.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions on deliverables? Or are we all in good shape? All right, folks. Yes, and the signature at the bottom would be helpful as well. But that's not, you're not graded on that. It's just graded on helping solve Joan's problem. All right. Well, for those of you who, yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow because I'm taking the day off tomorrow. So have a great weekend. I'm going to open up the Unit 3 this afternoon. I'll send out the weekly email as well. And I will see you all bright and early on Monday morning. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Eric, can I ask you another question?
Bye, Eric.
Bye, everybody.
See you, everyone.
Eric?
Eric, I would like to ask one more question.
Yeah, 1 second. I think Lauren was first.